Hey everyone, Tony D here, the Web Comic Factory and Super Frat, and Joan. Today we're going to do a different kind of video. Before I get started, let me thank my sponsor. That's MonsterCon this month. MonsterCon is taking place in Smithville, New Jersey, October 27th from 10 to 4. So come on down for that. Should be it's going to be an outdoor thing. But you know, should be a fun time. Now, what am I doing today? Well, today's going to be a different video. I'm going to try to make a video once a week on various topics. The topic that currently, you know, as many of you may know, that I'm a bit of a political junkie. There's a lot of politics in my comics. I've done the anti-war comic, of course, the most obvious, but I've also done political comics in some of the other ones. Super Frat. We did the Afghanistan story. In Tony Destructo, I've done some political stuff. Tales of Pizza, I did one little short story where Mitch has to deliver a pizza through a protest and some stuff happens. So I'm kind of a political person, but recently I've just seen, as with comics, the world of comics, things have become polarized in a very negative way. So when you think about, yes, I'm petting you, John. When you think about how negative it has impacted the world of comics by dividing people and making people very angry, one would have to wonder why people would bring politics into online dating. It seems insane to me. I've been online dating for about a year and a half now since my divorce, and I tell you, I'm just shocked. 10 years prior to that, when I was dating online, the world was slightly different in that online dating was relatively new. The people in the mix were the same sort of people you might find on the early days of Reddit or Facebook. They were fun. They were, you know, just starting out and discovering a cool new thing and having fun with it. And the thing about the early days of internet dating was prior to the internet, the online dating platform wasn't really online, of course, but what you would do is you'd go to the back of a newspaper, there'd be a classified ad, a number you would call, and then each person got a little box. So your bio would be in the classified ad. So it might say something like single white male. You know, mine would say something like single white male, 52, looking for companionship and dating or whatever. And you get so many words for the cost of the ad. Then it would be a number, which would be it would be like an answering machine. So if anybody was interested, they would call a number, they would leave a message, and then they would leave either their direct phone number or they would leave their number so you could leave a message in their box. So that's kind of the way it worked. And you could go back and forth and maybe you would arrange a date. It was a little clunkier back then. So dating was more a priority because, you know, it's not, the technology now is so easy. You know, I've had women on some of these sites, they just text endlessly. That was not text, by the way. So, you know, personally, and I am older, so, you know, older people tend to be more traditional the further back you go, but, you know, I can only do so much texting before I'm ready to throw my phone across the room and I'm so done. I'm so done. Like, just meet me, because just punching in the letters is so annoying. So I'd just like to go over some of the things I've seen. I've done some screen captures with some of the weirder dating bios. Excuse me. Oh, thank you, Joan. Yes, you're a good puppy. You're a good girl. All right. So here are some of the crazier, and some of them are crazy. Some of them are normal. But you'll notice some of the language that I think is too extreme. So this one starts pretty typical, fiercely independent, and some of her you know, hobbies and what she's looking for. But then she goes, if you voted for Trump, just swipe left now. That's a hard deal breaker. Caps. You know, that's not too extreme, but it's a it's a little bit like, you know, why put that in there? You know, it just because somebody voted for Trump or doesn't even mean they still support him. They could have voted for Trump and then immediately regretted it. You know, not that I'm defending anything that Trump did specifically, but it seems like a bit much. I mean, you know, if you voted for Obama, that's a hard deal breaker. Like, it sounds bad. No matter what president you apply it to. I know Trump is an asshole, but really, it's a little extreme to me, and kind of a turnoff, quite frankly. Um, so, like this person, again, typical start, stuff she likes to do, and then proudly liberal. Now that one's not too bad, except with the list of things, and then just throwing in proudly liberal, and then adding like I'm looking for a man who can make a plan and that isn't afraid to ask for directions. You know, it's confusing to me. It really is. Like, you know, I guess you're looking when you say a liberal person, you know, there are plenty of people who think they hold liberal views, and they're not very good people. So I don't know why you would put that in there, or why it would make a difference to you, but you know, proudly liberal. It just seems like a brag with nothing to back it up, really. Let's see. Okay, so this one was probably the one that turned me off the most. Um, First off, the pictures were not well done. Now, that's not a take on this person's looks. It's just that I didn't think they were very good pictures, and she looked angry in a couple of them. I mean, it's one thing to look a little angry in one picture of like seven, but to look angry in like half your pictures to me is like, what's up with you that you looked at an angry picture of yourself and said, "Ooh, I'll put that on my dating profile." Um, but she lists a bunch of adjectives about herself, which is always weird to me, and ends with good and a good conversationalist and just a bit sarcastic. Um, Therapists will tell you that sarcasm tends to be not very good for relationships. So this is a bit of a red flag for me. You know, not that I'm so, you know, I do comedy, so it's not like sarcasm is completely out of my toolbox, but when you're talking about dating and getting to know someone, sarcasm can be very confusing. You don't know the person, and they could be sarcastic, and it may not even register. Like, oh, maybe they're serious. Are they really serious when they say it? You know, unless it's something so outrageous. Um, so sarcasm to me is not a good relationship builder if that's what you want. Then she writes, if you aren't genuine or you've got some major skeletons that will come spilling out, please just keep swiping. I don't think people who aren't genuine or have skeletons, major ones anyway, are really going to follow your instructions properly. You know what I mean? They're just going to ignore that if they like you from your looks, and you know. And then she says, "Well, I'll clarify a bit. I think you should just rewrite the whole bio, quite frankly. If you have a prison record, PFAs against you, or even worse, you voted for the current POTUS, please keep swiping." So you're comparing a guy who voted for Trump with a guy with a prison record and PFAs, like basically restraining orders. You know, that seems to be a big stretch. That's a lot to you know. It just seems like you're very angry about politics, and maybe you're not ready to meet someone. I mean, you know, there's some other stuff here too that just sounded very unappealing, and I don't know why you would bring. You know, they say in polite company you shouldn't talk about politics and religion. You know, I don't even know you, and you're throwing this stuff at me like I should be. Yeah. I don't have a prison record or PFAs, and I didn't vote for Trump. Yeah. Like you know, there's nothing here to be excited about. It's just very negative to me. And it's not just about politics in the sense of Republican, Democrat. It's also gender politics. So this is something like this was a very beautiful woman who was a little young for me, but she writes stuff like she's a no laid back, no drama type. So usually somebody who writes that, who is laid back and no drama, they don't need to write that. And then when you follow it up later by saying, I'm real, no games, no BS, that tells me right there, you've had to basically say, you're normal 3 times, and I don't believe it. I don't believe this profile. It's a huge red flag for me. I wouldn't swipe, even though she was gorgeous. Now this woman, this is a good profile, and you can see why. I mean, from a gender politics standpoint. I'm going to make this short and to the point. Please swipe left on me if you aren't into having actual conversations and you don't want to meet in person. That's a great start, because personally, I'm sick of texting. I'd like to meet people in person. You get a lot more information in person. I went on one date, and that was the only date we went on with one woman, and we knew, no, this isn't going to work out. I knew the second I walked in the room and was just in her presence, she was not my type. It's hard to tell from a picture. And she knew right away I wasn't her type. So we were all good. And, we had a nice little snack at the restaurant and a drink and went our merry ways, and we're, friends on Pokemon. So it's, it's much more informative if you're meeting in person. So good for you. I'm here for actual connections. My time is valuable. And here's the key phrase. And so is yours. So let's not waste it. That's a great thing. She's put my time on the same level with her time. So many women will put, don't waste my time, my time is valuable. Well, what about my time? My time isn't valuable? Like, all I have to do all day is sit around and, see if you want to go out, and then if you're not in the mood, I guess I'll just keep trying every day. There's lots of women on these things, and there's lots of men, and this is the kind of attitude I think is appropriate. It's everybody's equal, you're willing, you're open-minded, you're ready to go. Now, she's a little young for me, she's probably not going to contact me, but if she does, I would totally go out with her. Very beautiful as well. She also put her height requirements, or she put her height. For those of you who have height requirements, she's not a height requirement girl, which is another thing that's very annoying to a lot of men, I think. This woman seemed to be fine for most of her bio: low maintenance, incorrigible, insomniac. But, after a few other sentences, she ends with, does not suffer mansplaining kindly. Well, I don't suffer the word mansplaining at all, quite frankly. I find that word very demeaning to men. If I'm trying to explain something to people and you call me out for mansplaining, that's not, first off, it's not a real word. The word you're looking for is you're being condescending to me. That's inappropriate. If someone's being condescending to you, sure, you can call it out. But to say mansplaining, like only men do it, no, women can be very condescending as well. So, that to me is just a term. It's a turn off. So, goodbye to you. This one's very strange to me too, and this is more gender politics again. In caps, I know how to treat a man. Very angry picture, by the way. In my view, just be a man and knows how to man up. I don't understand that in terms of the context of this bio, and that's it. That's it for the bio. I mean, I read the whole bio. I would never swipe right on someone like this. She just seems very angry. I don't know what she's looking for. Tone it down would be my suggestion. Jeez. What else we got here? Yeah, just another one that ends with please. After saying all kinds of sweet, nice things, I know there are, where are those nice guys? I know they are out there. And a bunch of other stuff about her life, looking for someone kind, funny, considerate, and has never been in jail or beat the charges. I don't know what women are going through out there, but seems to me there are a lot of guys out there who haven't done that, and you're looking for a nice guy, so it seemed to be everywhere. The question is, are you attracted to a nice guy? And it seems to me that you're attracted to bad boys, which a lot of women are, because it's confidence and whatever. But then you end with, please no Trumpers, life is too short for that. Again, I don't know what you mean. Seems a lot of the stuff in here is just totally unnecessary. If a guy has been to jail or beat the charges, he's probably embarrassed by it. If he's dishonest, he's just not going to tell you. If he's embarrassed, he's not going to tell you. I mean, you got to get to know somebody before they're going to, what do you expect? You expect them to put that on their profile? I mean, you expect them not to swipe on you? I mean, the guy's been to jail. He's not afraid. He's not afraid of swiping on a bio, I'll tell you that. Let's see, what was this one? I don't know why I kept that one. Okay, and then this one, there's a whole bunch of things that, in my opinion, are wrong with this. Starts out, I am looking for a good-looking man. All right. Who is well-educated. I mean, putting down you're looking for a good-looking man, I mean, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, Not everybody that you consider a good-looking man, other people do, but whatever. Who is well-educated, works, and loves life. Okay. Someone who likes quality. Don't know what that means. Athletic. Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. That's not me, of course. 5'5" through 6'2". Very specific. In pretty good shape, health-minded. Okay, you're getting very repetitive here. I think we get it. You want somebody who's fit, very fit. 40 through 75, and then in caps, white only, please. Now that just sounds incredibly racist. She probably doesn't intend to be that racist sounding, but just that alone, in caps, sounds a little racist. Just saying. If you don't want to date, if you only want to date white guys, if you're only attracted to white men, that's fine. I mean, just, you're going to get a lot of emails anyway. Guys are pretty persistent if they think you're good looking. So just, if you don't want to date any non-white people, you don't have to swipe them. You don't have to answer them. And people who are obnoxious enough to stalk you online, they're not going to be dissuaded by this phrase, I don't think. I don't know, maybe they will. But here's where it gets really bad. 40 through 75, white only, please. Some exceptions if you have something more to offer to your package. So I'm not sure what she's saying. It's like, okay, she seems big on only white guys. Maybe that's an attraction thing, with the color of skin or whatever. But now she's saying, well, if you got something else to offer. Like, what is this? Is this some sort of business negotiation? White or Filipino? Christian or Jewish? I believe men support the dating. I assume she means you're paying for everything. You have to make a girl a princess or queen before you are the king. I don't know what that means. Sounds like I'm going to be spending a lot of money. Someone who likes the beach and wants to vacation at times. Someone who can be loyal. For me, this is run fast. Then she continues in, this is Plenty of Fish, so she's in conversation starters. It's supposed to be what you're going to say on a date, but she actually writes down what you are doing on the date. So it's dinner and movie, dress nice, good conversation, well-mannered. I want someone who wants to take the time to know me, someone who loves God and likes themselves. See, right there, I've already been out, but that's a red flag to me, religious people, because I'm not religious. Someone who likes to cuddle. I want to live together. Lot going on here. That's pretty heavy-handed. No politics per se, but not exactly winning me over with your I would call it gender politics. Something more like this. to me, is more appropriate. I follow current events, news, and have a few other vices. So like that to me is like the perfect balance of, you know, I'm a little political. I don't even know what her political bent is, but the fact that she follows current events, I mean, obviously she has a political opinion, as opposed to someone like this. You know, she loves dogs. She's a scientist. If you're religious, into astrology, or have beliefs that aren't rooted in evidence, science, and reality, we probably won't get along. Now, I can kind of sympathize with that a little bit because I don't want anybody religious. Anybody who mentions God in their profile, I usually don't swipe. But, you know, it's beginning to feel a little like I'm better than you, you know, you weirdo. And then she writes, attention, bold letters, Trumpers, Republicans, and anyone who didn't vote for Hillary in 2016 and is therefore complicit in what's happening in our country, caps, swipe left. To me, that's a bit much. I mean, look, there were plenty of people who didn't vote for Hillary. There were people who voted the Green Party. There are people who wrote in Bernie Sanders. I'm a libertarian. I voted for Gary Johnson. You know, it's a bit much. It's a bit much that you are going to stand on a hill and demand, you know, you better conform to my political beliefs or get lost. That's, to me, that's too much. Now, this is one from the other side. Not really too extreme, but, you know, she's looking for a meaningful relationship, just looking to meet a normal single guy to hang out with. Single means not married or engaged or with a girlfriend. No pervs, please. Don't know how that's going to stop a perv. And then hashtag MAGA. Make America great again. Again, you know, it's not, I don't know if it's doing you any good, you know. I think if you're going to insert politics into something like dating, you know, my personal experience was I thought, well, maybe I'll mention that I'm libertarian and find someone who's libertarian, and maybe we would, you know, share the same views, and that could help us, you know, help us get together. That didn't really work for me, so I went back and I took most of my political stuff out, or I tried to, you know, soften it. I guess it's, you know, it's fine to mention if it's important to you. I mean, it's kind of important to me, but, you know, this idea that we can only date people of our same political belief, most women tend to lean liberal, and most men don't. So that's going to be a problem. And it's perfectly reasonable to have totally opposite belief systems. There was the story of Carville, the guy who worked for the Democrats, James Carville, and he was married to a woman who worked for the Republicans, and they were married, and I think they're still married as far as I know. So, you know, there's two people on different ends of the spectrum working for different politicians, and you know, granted, Washington establishment people are all kind of the same, but still, I mean, it's a little too much to politicize the dating world. It's already tough enough to get a date these days, depending on who you are. Certainly it's tough for me, being in my 50s now and not exactly, you know, gorgeous. So everybody's got their own cross to bear in that process. You know, adding politics to the mix, it's just such a divisive issue, and it's toxic, especially now. There's so much going on. Do you really think that's the best way to get to know someone, by starting an argument? Now, for me, that might be awesome for me if I could find someone who liked to argue politics, but then, you know, could afterwards sort of separate that from everything else. It's hard to find people like that because people get very passionate about their views, and they get very angry, right, Doggy? All right, Doggy needs a walk. So that's it. I hope this video is the final take. Thanks for listening, And hopefully, if I remember to do this, we'll see you next week.